Lord Craig Mackinlay, Conservative peer, former MP, joins us right now to talk about, well, all things going on here in Britain. A very, very good morning to you, Craig.
Good morning, Julia. Good to be on.
Thank you so much for joining us. I must talk to you just really briefly. I want to ask you about Greta Thunberg and this so-called freedom flotilla, an aid ship which basically apparently had a loaf of bread in and one bag of flour in to go to Gaza. They've been intercepted. She said she's been, quote, kidnapped. Well, what do you make of these sorts of? I mean, they're stunts, really, aren't they?
Well, completely. I mean, she's been the master of stunts. I don't know who sort of controls her and pays for these stunts that she does. I mean, she started life as this, well, I always thought, slightly peculiar young girl picking up the mantle of net zero and all the rest of it. She seems to have given up that ball. I don't know why. I think she realises the rest of the world are no longer listening, and it's all been somewhat of a disaster. So she's now on the Palestine freedom fighter wagon, as it were. I mean, this boat that she's on, it couldn't have come cheap. I wonder who's paying for it. But I'm not surprised the Israeli authorities said, no, I don't think we want you anywhere near here because you're not a force for good. What is the shame of it is because she perhaps could be a force for good in some things, but she seems to tie her wagon to everything that's anti-West, anti-normality, anti-everything that we hold dear.
And that is absolutely, and that is so many of these people. And again, you get into this.
I'd say to Greta, please go home and get an education.
I mean, she really does need.
Be a lovely young girl.
She does really. Well, no, gosh, she's a young woman, 23 years old. She needs to go back. Certainly needs to finish school. That's for sure. Let's talk about what's going on here because I mean, it's very interesting watching what's going on in LA and the National Guard being sent in because these obviously largely peaceful protests that are clearly full-scale riots. But it's amazing, I think, that we haven't seen, I'm not encouraging it, but let's be very clear, haven't seen more anger on the other side of things here, because there we've got people saying, no, don't deport the illegal migrants. Here we're going, please, for the love of God, deport the illegal migrants. But £4.7 billion annual bill, front page of The Sun today, to keep migrants in hotels and look after them. This is equivalent to tax from 582,000 workers. That, according to Jamie Jenkins, who's a statistics expert, big friend of the show, is equivalent to the population of Manchester, going out to work today, paying their tax all year, and it's all going on this migrant bill. It's unsustainable, isn't it?
Well, it's completely. It's a multitude of failures. We've got a failure by Frontex, the external barrier of the EU. That's obviously not working. We've got so many leaky parts to that, letting people into the EU. I do note that Italy is trying to be more robust with this, and Meloni has got a lot of good things about her that I wish we would rather take on board here in the UK. But that's the first point of failure. The second point of failure is obviously the 480 million over 3 years that we paid the French authorities to actually say, please, can you just stop people launching off the beaches? All we want is a few gendarmes armed with a few knives so that they can actually just stab the boat so they can't be launched.
No, I don't understand. This is so basic, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we're not talking about a huge length of seaside. It's always going to be along the narrowest stretch between here and there, probably about 10, 15, 20 miles at most. Yeah. I cannot believe with drones and technology and infrared cameras and all the rest of it that this is too hard an undertaking. But it seems that they merely sort of watch many go across the channel, and the percentage they're stopping has actually reduced this year than compared to last year. So that's the second point of failure. The third point of failure is the desirability of Britain. I've never quite understood that.
Well, with the weather and all.
Well, exactly.
I'd be in the south of France. Why are they here?
Well, I would say if I was a sort of self-respecting refugee-seeking migrant, I'd be off to the south of Spain or somewhere. I wouldn't be coming to Britain. But no, I know why they're coming. It's because you see the state of facilities offered to refugees in France, not very good. And you see the state of what they're given in the UK, i.e. very good, 4-star hotel for a year or more, 3 meals a day, free mobile phone and clothes and all the rest of it. What's not to like for a mere 3,000 or 4,000 euros to pay a people smuggler? You've also got the opportunity of working in the underground economy far more easily in the UK. No prizes for guessing some of these delivery companies. I wonder how many questions are really being asked. And I've got a friend who lives nearby one of these migrant hotels, and lo and behold, there are a lot of these very branded delivery bikes parked outside the refugee hotel.
Yeah, we're basically funding it all. Exactly, and they know perfectly well, because that's something.
So that's another problem. But just taking this to the nth degree, we're well on the way of having a record year, sadly. And if we do get a bumper year of weather, it will get even worse over this summer. So where does this end up? We're going to run out of hotels, but you quote those figures, 4.7 billion. That is a mere sleight of hand, Julia, because what we're doing uniquely in this UK is we're actually allowing more to be converted from refugee claimant to legitimate refugee seeker with the rights of accommodation and all the rest of it.
And people who've been rejected in Germany and France and Sweden, and they come over here and they get accepted.
Our rate of rejection is far, far lower than the rest of the EU. So again, that's another pull factor. And it is a con on the figures because they're no longer a cost of refugee accommodation.
But we're still paying for them.
They become...
Unless they're all entrepreneurs and rocket scientists and brain surgeons, like we're constantly told they are. We've got the spending review coming up on Wednesday. Big issues there in terms of, look, there ain't no money. We're now borrowing far more than we've ever done. By the way, way more, and our interest costs way more than they were under Liz Truss, and that forced her out of office. A lot of pressure on the Rachel Reeves. Just briefly, do you feel sorry for her at all?
Well, she has created a lot of what she's reaping now. I mean, we're having unemployment is now rising. The entrepreneurial spirit in the UK is being snuffed out. And our brightest and best are going, well, what's the point after university staying here? I think I might as well go and ply my wares in somewhere like Dubai. So that is a nature of what she has sown. But her room for manoeuvre is getting very narrow. Really interesting figures I saw from Fraser Nelson just yesterday about the embedded number of workless households has, lo and behold, doubled again since COVID days, and it is stubbornly high. We've got people who are on long-term benefits, whether that is PIP and disability or just not looking for work, is again at a massive high. Now, if we can get the GWP figure right, that would go a very long way of fixing Britain in so many ways. We'd be spending less. People at work. Now, they would be having probably less cases of mental health problems, and you would be liberating many, many billions for the pressures that we have.
You cannot deal with any of the problems we've got in this country without tackling that welfare reliance. I'm going to ask you a question. I need one sentence. You'll have one sentence. I'm not going to say what, but one sentence response. Would you ban the burqa and other face coverings in this country?
No, I wouldn't. You might be surprised to hear that. OK,
very interesting. Well, I'm sure we'll talk with you about that on another day, but so appreciate you joining us. Lord Mackinlay, Conservative peer there.